Hello. All right, so today's class is going to be 50-50 breath work and yin. So let's see. You can pretty much do the breathwork practice anywhere you like. You can either be lying down or sitting in whatever position feels supportive and comfortable for you. And then for yin, you can either do it like on a mat or in bed even. I think maybe a little early to fall asleep, but who knows. And yeah, for yin, you may not need any props, but if you have it available, I would recommend having some pillows around, some blankets, maybe some blocks. And let's see, oh, shoulders. We can do, now we don't need a strap. So yep, we'll be good for that. And we'll start off with breath work and then we'll gradually move into yin. So just gonna wait 2 more minutes and then I'll get started. All right, let's see. Yay. All right, I'm gonna try teaching using my Bluetooth. So hopefully that works. Hello, can you hear me? Sorry, I'm just testing out these. Okay, maybe. All right, gang, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So for breath, let me get some music on. All right, so when you're ready, go ahead and find yourself in a comfortable seated position or a position where you're lying down. Either one is going to be perfectly fine. And if you prefer, you don't even need to have the camera on or look at the video or camera for this breathwork portion. Sometimes I'll even turn the video off, but I'll keep it on today just in case and so that we can move into our yin work. So once you have found yourself in a comfortable position, one that you can remain in for about half an hour, start to first just bring your awareness to your breath without the need to change your breath in any way. Start to let your mental life, let whatever else is going on in your life, in your day, start to melt away. And so that for this next hour or half an hour, or however long you're choosing to be here, that you can really fully be here in that time. You can imagine all of the different thoughts running through your mind right now, as if they are little golden nuggets. And imagine that you can put all of these thoughts, these wonderful thoughts in your mind, into a box or a chest or a heart-shaped locket and place it in the corner of your room or by the door. Now bring your attention again back to your breath and start to sense different subtleties in your breath. You can imagine yourself as a witness, an observer to the breath, so that you're allowing the body to do the breathing. And there's no need for you to do anything. And allow yourself to feel how nice it is to relinquish control. And if you're breathing through your mouth, perhaps you'll start to sense the temperature of the air as it moves through your mouth, down your throat, into your chest and belly. And if you're breathing through your nose, perhaps you'll start to sense the temperature of the air as it moves through your nostrils. Maybe filling up your head space before traveling down. And as you begin to sense what your natural breathing is like, you'll also start to become aware of other parts in your body. And so allow these moments to happen. Allow yourself to get out of your mind, out of the rest of the day, and into all of the feelings and sensations in your body. Hi, Mika. You're just getting started.
Hi.
Hi. So you can find whatever position is comfortable for you, just a seated position or where you're lying down. This can be anywhere. You can use props or no props.
Oh my gosh, so dark here.
And if you're doing the recording, just continue to stay in this space. One of the first tenets of any breathwork practice is simply breath awareness or breath observation. The ability to be mindful of the breath without changing it in any way, resisting the urge to judge your breathing, to react or to attach to anything. And simply noticing each and every breath as a new opportunity to learn about yourself, as a new opportunity to sense your body. And perhaps you'll start to notice even more subtleties. Is your breath fast or slow, shallow or deep, smooth and continuous, or choppy and chaotic? Are you still holding or using any parts of your body for your breath? Or are you allowing the body to fully do the breathing for you? And take a couple last moments observing your breath for what it is in this moment. And we'll begin to transition into active conscious breathing. And anytime your mind wanders away from the breath, just know that that is perfectly normal and it is absolutely bound to happen. So when it does, guide your attention back to your breath as soon as you can and resist the urge to judge yourself, to react or attach to any moment or emotion. And just bring your awareness to that full next beautiful inhale, relaxing exhale. For today's breath work, we're going to be working with the 3 yogic spaces. So anyone who has a yoga practice may already be aware of this. If not, welcome. And if you are, then get excited. So as we transition into active conscious breathing, imagine in your body that you have 3 spaces. You can imagine this as if you are filling a cup up with life force, with breath, with energy. And picture your first, third space in your body, starting from your perineum or the space between your private parts and your bum. So the pelvis area going all the way up to your belly button. And that'll be the first space that we fill up. And then imagine your second space starting from your belly button up to your rib cage. And then imagine your last space starting from your rib cage up to your collarbones, just right below your neck. As we begin to consciously, actively breathe into these spaces, imagine that you're filling up these spaces one by one. It may be helpful to count 1, 2, 3. And when you exhale, think about not forcing the air out, but relaxing the body in order to naturally let loose the exhale. And so a couple prefaces before we move into the active breathing portion. If anybody happens to have certain health conditions like high blood pressure, low blood sugar, glaucoma, or anything kind of more specific, or maybe some lung diseases, then just to be extra vigilant of the different feelings in your body and whether you're feeling particularly lightheaded. But if you don't have any conditions like that, and even if you do, just know that this next portion is going to be, is not uncommon to feel tingling sensations in your body. It's not uncommon to feel like a certain level of headiness in your head, almost like a feeling of high, or a tingling in the head as well. You may even feel like, instead of a tingling, maybe like a numbing. And at some point, you may feel like maybe your mouth is getting a little dry from all of the breathing. Just if you start to feel these things, try to sit with those feelings for a little bit. If you're feeling really uncomfortable, there's no need to push it. But just before you choose to take a step back, just observe maybe why you're having these feelings and if there's any potential to stay with it and keep going and potentially use your breath to work through the emotions and sensations in your body and keep going. So after that, now we can start. So either sitting up or lying down, start to begin to really breathe deeply. And at first, you can even just do into the third space, into the second space, into the collarbone, and then letting it all go and keep going. Eventually, you'll find that you can start to make that more rhythmic, and it'll be one big, long, deep breath and one exhale out. And again, keeping in mind the exhale is automatic, it's natural. It's when you breathe in, your muscles are actually actively working, your diaphragm, your chest, all of those muscles are stretching and elastic. And so thinking about relaxing those muscles in order to naturally exhale. And everyone's breath is going to sound different. Everyone's breath is going to have a different rhythm. So if you're at any moment breathing and you're saying, oh man, I don't know if I'm doing this right, you're doing it right. There's really no wrong way to breathe. You're always breathing 24/7. So just trust yourself, trust your body, trust your mind, and try to stay with it. All right, so I will try to do the breathing with you as much as I can, but I'll be coming in and out of the actual breathing so that I can give cues and different things. So if you notice me coming out, just stay with it and keep going. So let's get started. Let's breathe in. So as you start to breathe, imagining that you're filling up your body as if it's water in a cup, except with air, with a certain level of life, energy. You can choose to breathe through your nose or through your mouth, or you can even alternate. And one of the goals here is to try not to have a pause at any moment, trying to keep this as continuous as possible. So if you notice, maybe at the very top of your inhale, that you're holding your breath before you exhale, then maybe inhale a tiny bit less. And if you're having a moment at the bottom of your exhale, where maybe you're pausing there, see if there's a way you can make a cue in your mind to start that inhale a little bit faster than you think you need to, by 1 second, by 2 seconds. And you can allow yourself to feel free to make noises here. There's a tendency in society for us to try to quiet the breath, to try to make ourselves small. But especially during breath work, it is a form of meditation, a form of mindfulness, and a form of expression. So allow yourself the freedom to exaggerate any noises if that's how your body is choosing to breathe. That's what helps you start to fill up the 3 different spaces. And again, you can even choose to place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart, if that helps you separate out those spaces, or thinking about filling up completely each and every space. And as you start to move up, as you fill the bottom up, and fill the middle, and fill the top, there's a tendency to clench the stomach and kind of force the stomach to become smaller in order to push the air upwards. See if you can keep the expansion all throughout your body so that you're filling from the bottom. It continues to fill, it overflows into the middle, all the way up to the collarbones. And then you finally let it go. You may notice that your breath maybe is not very smooth, maybe it's choppy or chaotic at first, and that's okay. Everything is okay. There's no need to be judgmental or harsh on yourself or think that there's a right or wrong way to do it. All you have to do is keep going. And at this point in time, if you've been trying to stay consistent, you may already start to feel some tingling in your skin. You may notice some tingling in your nose and your face. And embrace those feelings. Allow them to energize your body, to reinvigorate and rejuvenate that body. And if you feel like you've gotten the hang of it, start to visualize where you feel the air. Maybe you close your eyes and start to really get into your body. You might imagine, or you might even already notice, that your bottom section, that first half, that first very bottom of that cup, it expands in a circle so that you're not just popping out your belly, but the sides, your back, everything is expanding, it's overflowing. all the way into the rib cage. Your rib cage is bursting open. Your chest is lifting. Collarbones are lifting up, pushing up, expanding, opening up new space in your body. And when you exhale, you can imagine yourself letting something go. Maybe an emotion, maybe a thought, maybe a nagging thought that keeps coming back. Or maybe a tension in the body. And if you can't seem to connect with the feeling of letting go, then just imagine snapping loose the exhale. Maybe detoxing any physical toxins in your body. Letting go of any old energy, inviting in the new energy with your next inhale. Start to notice maybe if you're tensing anywhere. And if you are, I invite you to maybe bring a smile to your face. Maybe even laugh. You can interrupt your breath for a second and just laugh it out. And breath work doesn't have to be so serious. Deep inhale, relaxing exhale. Keep going. Maybe you start to feel some dryness in your mouth or in your nose. Keep going. Everything has a beginning and an end. One breath to the next, one moment to the next. Maybe one slight uncomfortable feeling to the next. And heading into our last 5 final minutes, pushing for this breath. This continuous energy flow, this increase in oxygen and space in the body. If you're up for it, if it's available to you, you might imagine now the breath coming into your body as a form of energy or life force or light. Maybe you imagine it as light, as love, as courage, strength, clarity. You might ask yourself, what energy do you need to feel more balance in your life today? And as you inhale into those 3 yogic spaces, imagine that you're filling up your body not just with air, but with that form of energy, with that light force, that love, that clarity, that strength or courage or any combination. And I invite you to really emphasize your exhales. You can sigh, you can hum. You can really exaggerate the sigh if that feels good. And if you've started to become aware of any areas in your body that maybe seem to carry some tension, as you inhale, you can start to send that energy towards those areas. Think about contracting lightly those muscles in those areas of tension. And as you exhale, think about letting that tension go and letting the control over those muscles go. You can work with different paces here. In the beginning of my breath work, I find it helpful to start off with a faster pace to energize and really get that feeling of tingling throughout my skin and my body. And as I move throughout practice, I find it more beneficial for me to slow down my pace so I can really focus on filling up as much as I can, breathing in deeply into each and every space. And if you did have to pause at any moment, that's okay too. Trust in your own body and your own intuition. And when you're ready, try to come back to those three spaces, to the exhales, and to the possibility of a continuous, even, smooth breath. Minimizing the pauses between your inhales and exhales, and every moment in between. You can imagine your breath as a circle, continuously inhaling to go up, exhaling to go down. Or if the visual of a circle doesn't connect with you, you can imagine the waves of the ocean, inhaling, building and crashing, and receding to exhale and push out. Each time the wave crashes and recedes, there's immediately another wave that crashes. And if you haven't already, begin to slowly slow down the rate of your breath. And let's transition now from those three yogic spaces to another form of active breathing. This time we're going to just slow down the breath and think about breathing deeply and slowly wherever the breath chooses to go in your body. And see if you can match the length of your inhale to the length of your exhale. For some, it may be helpful to count. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, see if you can make this breath smooth. And that may take some time. And so everything without judgment, and with kindness to yourself and to your body. And if 5 seconds is too difficult, if you're finding yourself straining, pushing, forcing the breath in any way, see if you can either just count to 2, to 3, to 4, or just count a little faster. Or don't count at all. Eventually, you will find it easier. And when we reach a point where we can average our inhale for 5 seconds and our exhale for 5 seconds, we actually reach a therapeutic zone of breath in the body. that's been proven to decrease stress levels, blood pressure, anxiety, even blood sugar. Let's move into our first yin pose from here. You can choose to stay with this breath in the therapeutic zone, or you can choose to switch back to breath awareness or breath observation, where you let the body do the breathing. And all you're doing is just being mindful of your natural breathing rhythm. You can choose to flow back and forth between those two states, whatever is feeling comfortable for you in the moment, in the pose. Each pose may bring about a different feeling. We're going to start off first with a wide-legged child's pose. And so ensuring that you're moving very slow so that you can stay connected to your breath and to all of the different feelings in your body. You can start off with your knees as wide as the mat if that's comfortable. You can pull them in a little closer if not. And if you are someone with a lot of flexibility, you may find it helpful to, instead of sitting on your heels, to let your bums sit in between your heels. That way your pelvis has all of the room available to fully fold forwards. If not, you can definitely sit your bum on your heels. If this is comfortable, go ahead and slowly start to walk your hands towards the front of your mat and lower your body all the way down. If you need any prop variations, you can place a block or a pillow underneath your hips, in your knee pit, or even in front of you as a cushion for the tops of your knees. You can use whatever props you like. And I find it especially helpful to have something in front of you that you can hug or place your forehead on. So coming into position, stay here for about 3 to 5 minutes. So make sure you're extra comfy. And when you're finally in the pose, go ahead and anchor yourself to your breath so that anytime you're wanting waters, you gently, with kindness, guide it back to your breath. And for yin, the point of the move, the point of the practice is to do more by doing less. And so check in with your body and see if there's any areas that you don't need. Maybe see if you can let go of control of these muscles. Relax all the muscles in your face, your jaw, your throat. In your own time, you're welcome to keep your eyes closed as you slowly move. Push into the palms of your hands to slowly raise your body. And then extend your body forwards and come to lie on your belly. You can have your legs about hips width distance apart, maybe a little wider if that feels better for you. Our next posture is going to be a Sphinx pose. And so walking your forearms so that your elbows are directly beneath your shoulders. Start to lift your chest towards the wall in front of you. Draw your shoulders down and back. And this pose is really, really good for activating the deep meridians, energy pathways in your low back and spine. And it's really good for anyone who works on a computer all day or even just stares at it. And from here, if it's available to you, you're welcome to relax your head and neck all the way down so that they're hanging heavy. You can also choose to place a block or something in front of you to catch your head, or you can just keep your head upright. If this feels uncomfortable for anyone, you can walk your hands more towards the front of your mat, and that helps to relieve some pressure on your shoulders. You can also choose to place some type of cushion or a block underneath your sternum, your rib cage, and that will also help take some pressure off if you need any modifications. Otherwise, coming to the pose. And again, reconnect with your breath. Notice the types of thoughts that might still be wandering throughout your mind. And see if you can let those feelings, thoughts, emotions go just for this moment, just for this breath. Even though the arms are still active, notice again where you could be doing even just 1% less in the body. Relax the muscles in your face again. Unclench your jaw. Relax your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Relax your eyelids, your eyebrows. On your next exhale, go ahead and allow yourself to lower all the way down, release the arms. And just take a moment here to feel all of the different sensations in your spine, in your back body. And in your own time, slowly come over to one side, push yourself up to seated. Your next posture is going to be shoelace posture. So you're going to bend your right leg in front of you and bend your left leg so that your left knee is over top of your right knee. If this already feels too intense for your hips or for your practice today, you can take half shoelace, keeping your left knee bent over top of your right, but extending your right leg long. And so taking whatever variation feels good for you there. Adjust your feet so that they are in the same line. So my left foot is not forwards or backwards in comparison to my right. From here, if you like, you can raise your arms overhead for a moment. Feel the sides of your body stretching, releasing the shoulders from all that work and that space release. And you can stay here if you like and just use a pillow or a blanket or even just your forearms and slowly start to fold over, especially to intensify the stretch in your hips. If you want an added shoulder benefit, we can take an eagle arm variation from here. I do still recommend having something cushioning you in front. That way you can lean forwards and it won't be too intense on your hips. Or blanket, pillow, or if you're really flexible in the hips, maybe you don't need anything and you can just fold. So coming into our eagle pose, if you choose to take it today, go ahead and wrap your left elbow underneath your right elbow. You can clasp the hands together in prayer or just do something close to that if that specific position is not available to you today. And before you start to fold forwards, think about extending your elbows forwards in front of you. So really pushing your elbows away from you. Really feel the stretch in your scapula and your shoulder blades. You should feel like they're really pulling apart. When you feel that sensation, that pull and that stretch, then you can slowly start to lower yourself forwards. Maybe you cushion your head into your hands or into the elbow, or at this point, that may be when you would like to grab a pillow or a block or something. We'll be staying here for several minutes to ensure that you're pretty comfy. This pose is pretty intense, but intense is different than pain. So if you're feeling any pain, then readjust or use some props. If it's just uncomfortable, see if you can stick with it and breathe through. So a good indicator of how you're feeling in your body and where you may still be holding tension is if you notice a significant change in your breath pattern. And so maybe if your mind has wandered off again, guide it back to your breath and notice what your breathing is like right now in this moment. And as you begin to become aware of the subtleties in your breath, you'll start to become aware of more things throughout your body. And so sensing all of these changes, all of these feelings and sensations. See if there's anywhere you can relax, even just 1% more. And if you like, you're welcome at this point to release your eagle arms and just stay in the shoelace for a little bit longer. It's okay. Thanks, Nika. It's okay. All right. Again, making sure you're moving very slowly. And start to bring your torso back up. Unravel the legs and take some very slow windshield wipers in the legs here, planting the feet on the floor and letting the knees fall from side to side. Very slowly. Just to reset before we go to the other side. And when you're ready, go ahead and bend your left leg in front of you. Bend your right leg so that your right knee is over top of the left. Make any adjustments in your feet so that your feet are about the same line, meaning they are the same distance from the front of the mat, or so that one foot is not in front or behind or significantly. And again, you can choose to take the arms overhead for a moment, stretch out the side bones and the shoulders. And if you took the eagle arm variation, go ahead and wrap your right elbow underneath your left. Clasp the hands together however you can. And begin to extend the elbows away from your body, pulling the shoulder blades apart, feeling a nice stretch in the scapula. And start to fold forwards as you feel more intensity in the hips, in the shoulders. And there's a tendency for people in general to avoid things and feelings that make you feel uncomfortable. But when we come to yin, when we come to a space of mindfulness, it can be beneficial to ask yourself, is there a way I can stay in this moment that feels intense, that feels uncomfortable? Maybe even find a way to make it somehow enjoyable. And if you did take the eagle arm variation, you're welcome to unravel those hands now. Take a couple more moments, just enjoying the intensity in the hips. And in your own time, slowly, gently pushing yourself back up and come to lie all the way down on your back. And take your time as you get into this position. And hug your knees into your chest so that you're making this tiny little ball with your body. You can grab behind the knees, at the thighs, or you can grab onto the shins. You can even use a strap. If you like, you can have some motion here. You can rock from side to side, or even make little circles. This is really nice for anyone who has lower back pain. You can just stay in place and feel the heaviness of the spine sink into the ground. At the same time, check in with your shoulders. Notice if they're pulling away from the ground at all. See if they can find a little more security and safety and comfort in the mat beneath you, the floor of the bed. Let their shoulders be heavy. And let's take one final deep breath in through the nose. Fill up the belly, feel the pressure of the belly, push against your thighs, and exhale. And in your last moments here, start to slowly release the arms down by your sides. Let the legs fall heavy onto the mat. And feel how your spine naturally re-engages its curves. Coming into our final resting pose. You're welcome to stay here for as long as you like. Use as many props as you like. I also highly invite you to take up space here. There's no need to make yourself small here. Your legs can be wide, your arms can be wide. Stay in your Shavasana. And if it's available, if it's enjoyable, I invite you now to gently close your eyes if they're not closed already. And then I invite you to imagine one person in your life that you are grateful for. This can be anybody, your best friend, a pet or an animal, an old teacher or professor, someone you don't have any mixed feelings about, someone you just love them. And picture them in your mind. And start to feel that sense of love or gratitude. And on your next inhale, imagine that feeling of love and gratitude is filling up your body the same way the air is filling your body. And when you exhale, imagine that you're sending some of that love energy towards that person, even if they're no longer here with you. And on your next inhale, imagine again that you can fill up every cell in your body with this energy, this love, this gratitude. And maybe the feeling doesn't come to you right away, and that's okay too. When you exhale, see if you can send some of that energy out in the room, out right to the air or space in front of you. Maybe you even can send some back to yourself, to your mind, to your heart, to your spirit. All right. That concludes the end of class. I have a quote that I heard that I just absolutely loved. So I want to use that as the ending of class. If you're doing this recording and it's late at night and you have fallen asleep or you're like in bed, that is perfect. I actually love when people fall asleep, because then I know they got really relaxed. So the quote I have for us that really inspired me was, "They tried to bury us, but we are the seeds." And I thought that was such a cool, inspiring phrase. So that is how I'm going to choose to end class today. Thank you so much for joining, Nika, and everyone doing the recording. Namaste.